do it live.
We're doing it live. All right. So, Matt, while we grab the link
Oh,
and stuff like that, I figured maybe what we could do is introduce our subject. So I'll give a little diatribe while you're poking about and find the link. So I'm traveling. I'm not at home. I didn't bring the hat to the office, but I did bring the hat on this trip. I did want to talk a little bit about travel and maybe like traveling while nerd or like what nerds need to travel and
oh,
different
I'll do that.
strategies and approaches to travel. What do you got? Did you
Oh,
find the
okay.
link?
I'm pretty much there. Okay, copied,
Amazing. Oh,
and now I'm going to add it
that's like
to
half the
that
battle. Look at that.
tweet. Oh, I forgot to add
Amazing.
you on it.
That's all right. That's okay. I can retweet.
Nice.
I get alerts every time you tweet. I thought
Okay.
I'm your stan, right? Have you heard
Okay.
this term before? I think it's the
No.
mixture of stalker and fan, which is kind of
Oh.
weird because I think fan is short for fanatic, but what do you got? But yes, I will retweet this for you as well. Look at that.
Okay.
What a guy. So basically, I guess what I'm getting at is that maybe some people travel one way, and I have a feeling that most nerds travel two other ways that are different. And one of the ways I think is my way. So when I travel, I may bring 11 to 17 to 30 devices with me, and they've all got all their different cables. And of course,
Hmm.
none of them are USB-C, and some of them are different lengths. I may bring multiples. Like I
Hmm.
think I brought 5 pairs of headsets this time, and that might be like an ADHD thing. But I've got like the
Hmm.
sleeping headset, the walking headset, the conference
Mm.
call headset. I've just got, and then maybe I have doubles of some, or like maybe some are
Right.
wireless and the batteries might die, and then
Right.
you've got to charge all these things and plug them into all
Yep.
these things. And when you're in the Apple ecosystem, you'd assume that's like
Yep.
one cable. It's not. And then you'd assume it's one charger. It's not. Or like, what if you need to charge multiples at a time? So my bag, it felt like it weighed 200 pounds. And
Yeah.
some of it's I'm out of shape, but some of it's not. But the other side of this, when I came into the office, other people came here with like a 20-liter bag and that's all they had, or maybe 3 cables for the whole trip. And I guess I'm really envious, and I want to see what your take is on this. Of course, my significant other has a whole other take on this, like the realist sort of take for this. But I want to see what your thoughts were on it because I feel like this is like an opportunity for improvement for me and
Mm.
maybe for the audience. I don't know.
So
Perhaps I'm
I'm going
wrong.
to take you in the wrong direction.
Oh, okay.
I'll make it
Are you a
worse.
maximalist as well?
I am now. There was a former colleague of ours, Jason.
Right.
I was saying his name is Jason.
Jason.
Jason. It's not.
Jason Yee.
He's not.
Digital
He's
nomad.
not JavaScript's object notation. No, he's Jason. Jason Yee,
Right.
formerly of Datadog, now of Gremlin. Um, and he always. I don't know how he did. He had like one tiny thin backpack that had I don't know, a liter. I don't know, it was more than a liter, but yeah, I mean, it was like the smallest possible
Right.
um, Timbuktu backpack, like super minimal. I don't know what his I think his suitcase was also pretty much. I think he was always carry on only,
Okay.
so pretty minimal. And I mean, but he didn't really need to carry much. I mean, it was, and in fact, I don't know if he. I guess he had his laptop with him in that bag, but uh, no, I'm terrible when I travel for work related things. I've got so many gadgets,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's all like, well, I might need this. I might need
Right.
this.
What if?
I can't go without that. What if? Yeah, yeah,
I hear
because
you.
yeah. I mean, I even bring along a sometimes I will bring I guess recently I've done a little bit better for like audio equipment because I think
Yep.
I might record that next video or get onto some sort of stream or something. Never actually happens, but I might. And so I have a Rode lavalier mic.
Right.
And so before that, I would have an audio interface. But the Rode Lav, not the Lav Go, but the full Lav,
The real
has a
lab. Yep.
Micon connector, and so you can swap out the XLR to a for the plug that goes into a MacBook or
8th inch or what have you. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So that means I all I need is that, the MacBook and that mic for audio stuff. And then, I've got the camera on here, although I usually have this camera,
Hmm.
the GH5,
Right.
with me, or I just rely on this camera and the camera on the MacBook. Or I tried a Kickstarter project which puts the camera kind of in the middle of the screen, which is
That's pretty cool.
turns out it's goofy and it's a crappy camera.
Okay.
Um,
Now, are
so
you the checked-in luggage type, or are you
no,
the carry-on
no,
only?
I am carry on only,
Okay.
for the most part. Um, and it depends on what class I'm traveling
Right.
and what's my status on the airline. So if I'm,
Fair enough.
when I was flying a lot with Datadog, I was doing JetBlue all the time, and so I was JetBlue Mosaic, and so I had the special tag on there.
Right.
Um, uh, when you work for a company as a early employee and it goes public, then you can say, "I'm never flying coach again." And so I always get the the
That must
the,
be nice.
the tag on it, um, for that reason. Um, so sometimes I've been checking in recently, but I haven't done really any business. I guess the only business trip I've done since that time was reInvent last year.
Right. Now,
Um,
in that checked-in luggage, is that mostly more tech gear, or is that like clothing?
it
What
will
what would go
be
into that largest suitcase?
it'll be the outlet, like the I'll usually have like, sometimes I have this Anchor, 8 USB A ports,
Okay.
and then one plug into the wall. Or more recently, I've done I think it's a Hyperjuice, that's a small adapter with two USB Cs and two USB As. Um, and so, um, and often those bulky things, and on all the
Right.
cables will go in the checked luggage.
Right. That's the same way I
Yeah.
ask because my significant other is more about how many pairs of shoes should you bring? Not just for her, but also for me. So yeah, there's rain
Mm.
shoes, right? So what if it rains? So those kind of what if
Hmm.
questions. Or if you're in your hotel room, like you don't want to catch something walking around barefoot in your hotel room. So do you have like slippers for the hotel and things like that? And for me, that
Mm.
is so far down the list, and maybe I'm gonna
No,
catch something this trip. You know what I mean? But like it's just in terms of priority. Like I'm not packing an extra coat. I'm
I
probably not
barely
packing
own
a
more than
sweater.
one pair of shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I got a few pairs, but
Yeah.
still, I'm not bringing them, unfortunately. It's just a different set of priorities, it feels like, when you're a bit of a
Yeah.
nerd than other people, and most of it appears to be around the gear stuff. But even on our
Yeah.
team, so I was talking to some people, and some of them do prioritize clothes, like different outfits and
Hmm.
shoes to go with those outfits. And
Hmm.
like male or female, it doesn't matter. So like different people have different things that they want to prioritize. They want to look good for a special event, right? Like if I want to go out to someplace fancy, and I'm
Hmm.
thinking like, what can I get away with the same pair of jeans all week? Or is there a
Yeah.
laundry service at the hotel? Like, how can I
If
absolutely
there's something
minimize the clothing?
special going on, then maybe I'll pull off a bunch of toilet paper and wipe off the gunk on my one pair of shoes that I brought.
I am the same way. I'll show up as casual as you can. Most of the time, I will
Oh,
dress up, like if I'm at home or what have you. But traveling, like I'll just say, "Hey, I'm traveling. I couldn't
yeah.
pack the suit."
Yeah.
Hopefully the collared shirt and the jeans are enough for you, and
Yeah.
maybe the shoes are black. I'll wear black sneakers for the trip, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I do find it very interesting. The other bit is, so we touched a little bit on that like minimalist side. So what people are trying to do in terms of taking up less space. I don't know if it's carbon footprint
Right.
or what have you. But for me, some of it is, and this is like maybe it's like the modern stoic or something like that. I feel like that book bag that you bring on the plane. I feel like the heavier I make that, the more of a
Hmm.
workout I get. So it's win-win, right?
Some people do Weight Watchers. You just pack a lot in your bag. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
my
got your
camera bag is quite bad.
what is it? What was the name of the vest? Scott E vest.
Oh, I haven't seen those. We'll
Oh,
have to put those in the show notes. Okay, I will find it though.
it's not worth. It is
It's
a
not worth it. Okay.
overpriced jacket that'll fall apart in 8 months. And but the benefit, I mean, it was popular for a while when they were cracking down on the weight of your bag, and so you could basically travel with no bags and have your entire wardrobe and all the things that you need in your
Yes,
jacket.
I love
Um,
this.
it was a little ridiculous, and I mean, as I say, it was always advertised in all the. Oh, you want to come in? Yeah. Um, it was always advertised in all the airline magazines,
Right.
and Scott Jordan, I think, was the name of the founder. So it was his vest. Um, but as I say, it was a garbage jacket. Um, uh, but that's my opinion. In case they want to sue us for
Yeah, right. If
anything,
they want to
yeah,
be a sponsor, I mean,
yeah. Then we
I
love
did,
it.
I did have a look, and one of the first things on the pages is like a suit that you can put
Yeah,
multiple things in, and that's right up my alley.
yeah,
Because listen, if the
yeah.
suit had many pockets and I could put more cables on it,
Hmm.
I'd wear the suit on the plane because I've done that before as
Right,
well. If I know I need a
right.
vest or a blazer, I'll wear it on the
Yeah,
plane, and I'll make sure it has enough pockets, and that means more
yeah,
cables, but it also means hey, I can go to
yeah.
that dinner that they want me to do. Maybe I have to meet a
Right,
client or what have you.
right.
But I do find that some of that sort of dovetailing into the next bit I want to talk about is sort of like that backing mechanism. So are you the person who puts like 5 USB-C cables in the fancy shoes if you need to bring them? Because that's me. Like most people put socks in there, but I'm like, I need to, I'll bring 2 pairs of socks. But if there's more, if I'm putting shoes in there, that like those shoes are gonna, there's
Mm.
gonna be a camera lens in there. There'll be something.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to. I mean, the camera lens is not going to go in the check bag.
Right,
But this
right.
is if you're carrying on a bag that has an extra
Generally for
pair
me
of
to carry on.
shoes.
Good
Yeah, I
point.
mean, I guess it's going to be. I guess I tend to put either socks or underwear in that. Um, I do like to have one pair per day that I've packed. Oh, so that's part another question. How many days do you
Right.
pack? Is there a maximum number of days you pack for
Mm-hmm.
any given trip?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So would you pay for laundry service, like if it's not included in the room? Because I will pay for it every time, and the better half
If
would not.
if I'm if I'm traveling for work, yeah, I'll pay for it and expense it.
Right. I would
I
even if I
always
had
expense
to.
travel. Oh,
Yeah. So
always
depending on
expense laundry. If you're going for, more than so I will always
right,
pack for 4 days,
right.
and if the trip is longer than 4 days, then laundry and expense that laundry.
And I hate to say it, some companies are pretty, let's say, a little bit more tight with the money on the travel expenses than others, and they won't pay
Yeah,
for that laundry service, but I will still pay up to
yeah,
$40 if I don't need
yeah,
to bring like 4 extra pairs of clothing. So this trip I'm
yeah,
here pretty long. Flights from Canada were weird because
yeah,
there's stuff going on. So I'm here for 9 days, and 2 of those
yeah,
days are extra days. And I tried to bring 5 of everything. And again, this is like, and I
yeah.
feel like my better half is actually watching this stream right now. She was like, "No, you absolutely like. What if they lose your laundry? What if something gets
Yeah,
damaged? What if you don't have any clothing? What if you sweat
yeah,
too much? That kind of thing." But I would rather pack more gear actually, not pack
right.
lighter and like bring less bags, but like pack more gear. So this time, like I brought 2 cameras, for example, and I probably didn't need two
Mhm.
cameras. But again, it's like, what if one of them breaks?
Yeah,
What if I want to have one lens on one and one lens on the other? That kind of thing.
right.
But for me, the less clothing I can bring, the absolute better time I'm gonna have for sure.
Yeah.
It just feels that way every time.
Well,
So we
I
mentioned
mean,
audio gear. Go
yeah.
ahead. Yep.
No, just thinking about questionable expenses for travel. I
Oh
remember
yeah, that's a whole topic.
there was a woman I used to work with who, I mean, we were working for this very you couldn't expense much. They
Okay.
were sticklers
Been
on
there.
what you could expense,
Right.
um, and she expensed a what is it when you have your nails done
Manicure?
on manicure? Yeah,
I think
I
so.
guess so. I mean, I don't have I've never done it, so I
I
don't
think
know.
it is.
But
Yeah, I think it
yeah,
is.
so where she had her nails done and painted, but she was kind of the almost the PR person for the company,
Okay, that still looks
and
good. Yeah.
ran into there was some problem with luggage and all of this other stuff, and she got them done and she got it expensed, and there was some fight about it, but she got it expensed, because I think, I mean, if I tried to get that through, that should
I'd
not
like
go
to see you
through.
try to
But
expense like a barber or something, right?
yeah, um, yeah. I mean, those types of life expenses, no. But in her case, I think it was absolutely a legitimate expense for travel.
I will say that I once had a really hard time expensing toothpaste because I didn't bring
Mm,
any, and I thought there would be toothpaste at the hotel because
yeah,
there was a
there always
time.
is.
Yeah, but apparently now there isn't always toothpaste. You need to know,
Mm,
and and it's not like I didn't care. I would have paid the buck, but
yeah.
unfortunately, I put it through in the expense, and I was like, well, can I just retract this because it's causing like a big kerfuffle, and I'd
Right.
rather just like not have it. No, like, no, we have to see this through to completion. It like has to go to arbitration or whatever, within the
Yeah.
company. VP needs to sign off, and eventually they paid for it. I think it was $1. I was in Korea at the time, but I always remember that. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's an assumption, I guess, of equipment that will become part of
Yeah.
the hotel
Yeah.
room, like shampoo, soap, that kind of thing. I would
Yeah.
never bring them. Whereas again, the more rational part of my relationship would say like, no, you should bring your own because the one in the hotel isn't good. And normally I'd say like, "Hey, it's fine." This time
It's good
I
enough.
listened to her, and
Yeah.
she sent me with some good shampoo and good soap. And hotel showers aren't great, but if you've got good soap and good shampoo, like it adds that extra like 10% or 20% to the experience. So I feel like she won me over there. Like, yeah, bring if you can, bring your
Mm.
own shampoo and soap. Yeah, I know, right? Like, no, I'd rather put more like another camera or an iPhone in
One more
there.
gadget? Absolutely.
Right. How many audio devices do you normally bring when you travel?
What counts as an audio device?
Well, I guess that's kind of up to you. So I was thinking of audio players like an iPhone or an iPod or like an
Mm.
Android
So I don't.
kind of player.
I
Yep.
guess there's my phone, but I'm gonna have
Hmm.
my phone anyway. So it's. I
Right.
mean, um,
And
uh,
you're a one phone person, right? Like no
I'm
corporate
one phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. No.
Okay.
No. No. I have no. I don't. I don't believe in the idea of having this wall between personal life and work life. It's all one life.
I used to, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I carry one phone, and uh, up until recently, it would be a pair of AirPods Pro or
Right?
AirPod Pros, um, and or AirPods Pro. Anyway,
I think it's AirPods
but
Pro.
then I left one of the earbuds on a flight,
Oh
and,
no.
so this was why I'm on this cheap pair
Right.
of $20 Bluetooth headphones. Um, uh, because I like those because of the noise cancellation, and that way
Right.
I don't have to carry a bulky. I mean,
Agreed.
even the smallest, most compact noise cancellation headphones, which are absolutely required, they're too big
Yep.
for all of the other stuff I need to carry. Let's see, other audio. For before I discovered the Micon connector on the audio jack, I would have
Yep.
a Zoom H4n
Okay. Is that like
with
like a shotgun kind of mic?
audio. It's a recorder.
Oh, okay.
And
Yep.
so four track recorder with two mics kind of in a cross pattern, and then two XLR inputs.
Right.
And so I'd carry that. Um, and then a uh, a little mini tripod for mostly for mounting that audio that Zoom device on,
Right.
in case I wanted to point that at somebody.
Right.
And then related to that, there's probably some sort of little mini clamps that have screw threads on them, because I
Yes.
usually have a light as well, a compact light for lighting for a video. Um, and then what other
And do they
audio?
plug into like if you're talking XLR, does that need to go into an audio interface, or does the Zoom have the XLR jack on it?
The Zoom has the XLR input
Okay.
and that has a USB out to go into the
Oh,
laptop.
also it's
So
like kind of dual use, so it can be
it is
portable
a
as well as
recorder
nice,
and audio interface.
like a DAC or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
And so for I actually have one of my bags here.
Huh, there you go.
I'll carry that light on there, which is a Aperture Amaran F1, I think.
Okay.
which is just a nice little light that is USB powered, also battery powered, also what's that V mount battery power.
Now I wouldn't ask, but for those of the audience who may be watching this thinking like, why do you need a light? Why wouldn't you just use the sun? Or even, I guess, on our side, like,
Hmm.
why wouldn't you have a
Yeah.
scram or something like that instead of doing this?
Yeah.
Why would
So
you want the portable light?
so chances are, if it's daytime,
Hmm.
I'm working.
Right,
And so when I'm not working, the sun decided to go away, and
right.
I'm just
More often
on
than not,
moonlight.
right? Yeah,
And then the lights in the room are probably going to flicker. And if I'm traveling internationally, they might even flicker at a wrong frequency.
right.
Um, I mean, most of my travel of last, well, since Datadog and a little bit before that have all
Hmm.
been U.S. mostly,
Right.
apart from the occasional Australia trip. But um, so so having controlled lighting is useful. That said, I haven't really used it. I think I've used it
I'm
once,
literally in the
despite
same boat.
carrying it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I brought something a little bit smaller. I think it's that like a Lume Cube kind of light,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
same thing.
It's awesome.
It's the small light just in case, and then the little
Just in case.
tripod that comes with
Yeah,
it. Yeah, because the same thing.
yeah.
Like, what if I need to? Somebody asked me to patch something up that I've
Right,
already
right.
submitted. Yeah, yeah. I feel like the content creator kind of thing as well. Like there's nerd, and then there's
Hmm.
content creator nerd, like
Yeah,
together kind of thing is. Yeah,
yeah,
there's just a little bit more in terms of needs. Now you
yeah.
mentioned a little bit about lenses, so I would be okay putting
Mm,
lenses in a check bag, but that took a long time to be okay with.
mm.
What is your stance on check bags and like optics?
I I don't put them in there not because I think that they're going to break, but what
Right,
happens if the bag just doesn't show up?
right,
Which I have not had a problem with in decades,
right.
but there was a
Does still
time
happen.
20, 30 years ago where that was like the norm, where bags would go missing. They always went missing. There was a trip. There was a trip that my family went on. You know, growing up in Miami, the cheap vacation was always to go up to Disney World. You know, because you're
Right.
Florida resident, so you get super cheap tickets, and you could get if you went off season, you could get a cheap room. Even the Contemporary was super cheap, um, and uh, um, and we drove. So my parents and I drove up, and my
Hmm.
sister flew in from Case Western, and my
Okay.
brother flew in from Penn. Um, and when my brother arrived, his luggage missing. When my
Oh,
sister arrived, her luggage missing. When we arrived, we had our luggage strapped to the top of the car, missing, but we
what?
get a call from because it flew off the top. Um, and we actually got a call from the Florida Highway Patrol a day or so later. And my dad drove quite a ways to go pick up this luggage that had been, retrieved from the highway. And basically, all they retrieved was the lid of the suitcase that had
Oh, thanks.
Williams written on it, and one underwire bra of my mother's. And that was it. That was I
Oh, I
actually
hope so.
no. It was just really the wire, and everything else was gone. So we
That
all
is a
were screwed.
phenomenal story. So
Yeah,
so when something like that happens, does it set a precedent for you? And this is
yeah.
why
Man, I've never
you have.
trusted.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It happened to me once, and that was kind of the thing. It's like fool me once, never
yeah,
happened again.
yeah. It's like I had some horrible dentist experiences growing up, and ever since then, dentists are evil, and I'm just terrified of them. It's
That
the most terrifying thing in life for me.
yeah, again,
I
that's
just
something
saw
that
one
took me a
yesterday.
long time, yeah, to get used to. I
Yeah,
also have just recently seen a dentist, but
yeah,
yeah, it's hard. The brain is interesting. It's like
yeah,
it's pain avoidance and
yeah,
seeking of pleasure are the two motivators,
yeah.
right? So I guess on that theme, on the pain avoidance theme, when I travel, I don't have a like we were just doing lunch and people were showing off their fancy credit cards and stuff like that. No, I don't have one that gives me lounge access or anything like that.
Mm,
But it does give me lounge coupons. And if I have
mm,
access to a lounge, I will use that lounge every time.
Right. Right.
I will go to the airport
Yeah.
early in order to go to lounge, which also sounds
Yeah.
silly, but I just want to have like that a downtime, relax
Right.
after the security, which stresses me
Right.
out,
Yeah.
just so I can chill and then get on the plane. Are you the lounge user, or are you just it doesn't
I
matter?
do. I do tend as long as it's in my terminal, even
Right.
if I have to walk some
That's a good
distance.
point. Yep.
So with the Chase Sapphire, whatever,
That's what everyone was showing off. Yeah,
yeah,
these fancy
um,
cards.
you get the priority pass, which is
That's okay.
oh,
That's just
they're
too bad for the
okay
priority pass.
lounges,
Yeah, yeah.
but
They're like the lower tier, right?
but it's a lower tier, and so if the lounge is anywhere near full, you're not getting in.
That is true.
And so priority, even though you've got this priority pass, priority goes to someone else. Um,
And
and
I know we sound entitled here, but like when you're traveling on a regular
well,
basis, like
yeah. I mean, if you're on
lounge
a
access
long
can be a
trip,
big deal. Yes.
I remember soon after we got that priority pass cards, I did a trip with Datadog actually
Okay.
from Boston, where I was based at the time,
Hmm.
to where was I going? I think I was going to Australia for a AWS event, and it stopped somewhere else. I think it might have stopped in Singapore. And the Priority Pass lounge in whatever that leg was, I think it was Singapore. They had showers, and so I knew about that ahead of time. And so before I took my flight, I reserved a shower time, and I arrived. And so you got like 2 or 3 hours in the airport, taking the shower after a 12-hour flight from the U.S. It's like magical.
Matt, this
And
is
now
why I
you've got
love the
this room for
experience.
half hour. Oh my God, it's incredible.
So in my brain, I've got like this checklist, right? And of course, showering at the lounge is on there because,
Yeah,
and especially in APAC. So if you're flying in Asia,
yeah,
it does seem to be more common at
yeah,
least. So for me,
yeah,
at least, like Japan or
yeah,
Korea or the ones South Korea or the ones that I'm used to. Like, yeah, if
yeah,
there's a shower, I will take it.
yeah,
Mostly because like I sweat a lot in Asia as
yeah,
well, and that
yeah,
shower really like makes me feel human again because
yeah.
you get all sticky and gross on a multi-leg
Right.
trip, and it's just yeah, it feels like a
And
semblance
and
of normalcy.
even the if you've got 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, I mean, getting those little capsule hotels where you've just got this tiny little space,
Right,
3 feet across by your height, and that's it.
right.
That is amazing too. Just being able to lie down and close your
Now,
eyes for a
now
bit.
I've never done that, but someone on the team did mention that today as well.
Yeah.
Like you may need to sleep like fetal position or something because
Yeah,
it's
it's tight.
smaller depending. Yeah, where you are. I know you're a lot taller than I am,
I'm
so
six
that's
foot
quite
four,
tight.
so it's
Yeah,
it's tight.
and I clock in 5'8" on a good day, but let's say 5'7".
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's not that bad for me. Now, when you're flying with all this gear, so there's the plane, obviously, and there's the ports and stuff like that. Do you trust the airplane USB port, or are you the like bring the AC adapter onto the plane and plug the USB into there kind of person? Because
No,
I am the
I
latter.
trust.
I don't trust those USB ports at all.
Hmm. I like trust meaning.
I feel like they're gonna
Uh,
overvolt my phone or like
oh,
fry
okay. It's
it
not
or
a
maybe not charge. I don't think
okay.
it's a
It's not a
security thing.
security thing. Like they're
It could be,
gonna
but
peer
no.
into your phone, and no, I don't care.
Maybe they will. Yeah, I've heard about e-bikes doing that in some
Yeah.
places where like you'll plug your phone into the e-bike and maybe it's stealing your
Downloads your
contacts or
contact
something.
list.
That
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Some cars will do that too, like rental cars. You've
Yeah.
probably
Oh
seen them
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Would you like to sync your contacts? Like, yeah, actually, I'd
No.
rather you didn't. And then what? Are you
um.
gonna delete them later? Probably not.
No, I tend to trust that, and recently I've been flying mostly Delta, and it's always been those upper classes, and so having the outlet there, I guess I do use um the MacBook uh plug just because well it's not got enough juice to plug into the
Right,
USB outlet.
right.
And plus it's USB A and not USB C. So I'm yes for that. And I usually have to make sure that my bag is propped in just the right place because the holes for your plug
Always.
never hold on to it, so it's like always falling out.
Always. And that was
Yeah,
kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about. So I watched a YouTube video recently about you know how the plugs have like a hole in them, and it looks like maybe they go in and like clamp or something like that. And I'll put a link in
Mm-hmm.
the show notes. But basically,
Oh
the
yeah,
premise was, what are those holes for? Like, do they serve any
yeah,
purpose? And it looks like no. So I've seen other videos where they talk about maybe just the tooling's been the same year after year, so they just kept it the same. And there's a spec for it for sure, and there's a spec for a gripping mechanism, but I don't think any of those ports grip. What I find interesting though is that I only have this problem while traveling. And I think the conclusion of the video is that
mm,
maybe the tolerances for the receptacles and things
yeah,
like, those lamps that you use in lounges or in your
yeah,
hotel room or on the plane seem to never be able to
right,
grip anything. And then you go trying to like bend the
yeah,
plug a little bit out or in,
right,
and then the prong breaks off, which is also
right.
happened to be. And that's some of the stuff. So this is why I ask about the trusting the USB port, because I feel like I should trust the USB port because that's not going
Hmm.
to break. Whereas I've definitely broken AC adapters. And then
Yeah,
how are you going to charge your device? You
that's
only brought one
yeah,
charger. Did you bring
right,
two? Do you have like
right.
BCP chargers,
Where's the
DR
Apple Store?
chargers?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And yes, I love it. You're hitting all the
yeah,
notes here. So the next thing is, like, as an Apple ecosystem supporter, generally there's an Apple store where you're going, so you
right,
can like grab a replacement. But I feel
right,
bad for the Android folks, right? They get USB-C,
yeah,
which is kind of another thing, but yeah,
yeah,
the grabbing a charger is, yeah. I want to grab a reputable one. I want to know
yeah,
that I can, yeah, charge my device.
yeah. Like I forgot to bring my charger for my Apple Watch
Yep, super
on the
common.
last business trip I took, which was our company. We all stayed in one Airbnb because we're still a small company,
Right,
and I forgot my charger, and I got one of the chargers in the airport for it was the right thing. It was just like
right,
a generation back or a few generations back charger.
right.
Um, and it turns out with that hyperjuice block, plugging that charger in there, it doesn't actually charge the watch.
Oh no,
I think, I ran into this problem with, remember that I talked about that
was it the Rav
time lapse
Power?
thing with,
Okay,
remember
yeah,
I
yeah.
talked about that time
The
lapse thing
Boston. Yep,
with the
yep.
in Boston. If you try to charge a Raspberry Pi off of some batteries, the batteries will say, "Oh, it's not enough charge. I'm going to shut
Right,
off." And so I
right,
wonder if that's the same thing with this hyperjuice device.
right,
It just doesn't have enough juice, so it tries to save power because you're not using it. Um, because and so I thought it was like a useless charger, so I gave it away. And then I get home, and it turns out the charger I've been using for like 2 years to charge up this watch is exactly the same older model, and it was working just fine. It was just my charger that was screwed.
Oh, I hate to
Anyway,
hear it. And are
yeah,
you like, do you try to optimize for USB-C? Because that's another theme
yes,
I hear a lot, is that people try to
yes,
like have one cable. Yeah, I'm
yes,
not there yet, but I can see the benefit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have all the right cables, so I only need USB-C, which is why one of the many reasons I think the new M1 Max are such a horrible design.
The MagSafe.
The
Yeah.
outports, yeah, the MagSafe. Nobody needed the MagSafe to begin with, and now we've got it back. It was great when we got rid of it, and now it's back. So I lose one of my USB-C ports.
Right.
I also had to gain the HDMI. I didn't need an HDMI port. Every conference center has USB-C, so I don't need HDMI anymore.
Right.
Great. So now I've
Right.
got these two ports I never use.
And the other thing, just to hone in on that just a little bit, like the MagSafe's on one side but not the other. I like being able to
Yeah.
charge from one side or the other.
And when it was two ports on either side, they were two ports in the same position. So if you
Yep.
had one cable in on one side, you knew where to plug in on the other side because it's right there. These two, there's two on one side and one on the other, which don't line up. It's like, what? And so
Yeah,
there's scratches along the side of my laptop because I keep
of
like
course.
finding it.
Of course, yeah. USB is always going to have issue because it's like the most commonly used plug. So you know the old meme of like you plug in the USB-A one way and then you reverse it and it still doesn't work. You reverse it and it plugs in.
Yep.
I feel
Yeah.
like USB-C is like, yeah, it's just scratches all up and down the
Yeah.
side of your laptop.
But that, I
Now,
mean,
Yep.
And then there are some plugs. I mean, like the Lightning. One nice thing is that you can flip it over and it works,
Right.
except if your Lightning cable gets scratched up and then it only works on one side. I mean, USB-C is a little bit better because it's enclosed,
Protected. Yeah.
but yeah.
Are you like? Would you ever think of? I guess the question here is like the main compute device. So I am like, even though I don't have two phones, I have two laptops that I travel with, which is like a whole other level of comfort. So I just don't feel right. Like if I'm taking personal photos, I don't feel right putting those on the business laptop. I'm sure it's
Mm-hmm.
fine, but like just in case, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels weird to me filling up space
Mm-hmm.
with videos and stuff like that. Do you bring two laptops when you travel, or are you the one laptop person, or are you the laptop, iPad?
No,
Where are you?
no, no. I put personal stuff on my laptop all the time.
Right.
I
I
did the
think I
whole
just
time
need
I
to
was
get
at
comfortable with
Datadog.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess, I mean, I only, I, I say what I did at Datadog because I'm no longer at Datadog. So if
Right.
security watches this,
Yeah.
they're not going to say, oh, you can't do that. It's like, I'm not there
I mean,
anymore.
the
Um,
policy is for business use only, and I get it. But at the end of the day, if I'm putting
yeah.
some JPEGs or some RAW files
If,
on there, they probably
yeah.
wouldn't mind too much.
Now, I'm not going to put anything on there that would be
Like a
illegal in some
questionable,
countries.
yeah, legality or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, some bootleg
Or
or
just
something. Yeah,
not something you'd want to show your mother. I mean, not, or,
obviously, obviously.
any of those types of things. Because, I mean, you have no, I know that there is no idea of privacy of anything I put on that laptop.
Definitely.
Anybody in the IT organization or security organization should be able to access that.
Yeah,
And so there should be no private information that I don't want to share with the world. Well,
right.
not the world, with
Not,
the IT
not that you
organization
would
at
do
my
any of
company.
this, like fly
Not that
your
I
private
do
plane
it, but
or anything.
I should not. Um,
Yeah,
any threats or anything like that should not ever go on that kind of. Not you
absolutely.
should
And I
ever
feel like
have
that's
them anyway,
where
but
I get worried. Yeah, it's like that slippery
yeah,
slope. Like what if
yeah,
I just decide, oh, I
yeah,
need this and I've got a license. This is my
yeah.
personal license, and then like
I
Creative
have no
Suite
problem with that.
specifically, like
Yeah,
Creative Suite licenses. Like I
right.
don't know, I feel bad. So I've got a business Creative Suite license
Mm-hmm.
and a personal one, which is kind of silly.
Mm,
So like Adobe's getting money twice just for me to be able to use like Premiere at
right.
work and Photoshop at home. But yeah,
So I had, I don't know, I made maybe 100, 200 videos while I was at Datadog.
right.
Every single one of those videos was made with my personal copy of Final Cut Pro.
Right. It does feel weird, but I feel like the same thing. Like I've
Yeah,
got this license and it's a corporate license. It's not for
yeah,
personal use or anything like that. I'm paying the full
right.
meal ticket here for
Mm-hmm.
Creative Suite. So I feel like yeah, it's more of like something a contractor would do. Like when I was a contractor,
Right. Yeah,
bringing my own software kind of made sense. Whereas I feel like as a full-time employee, I don't know. It just I get a bit
yeah,
uneasy about it sometimes.
yeah.
And again, if anyone in IT is watching this, I do not do this. But I do think about it a lot because,
Yeah.
okay, so what I bring with me is a 16-inch MacBook Pro i9, which is massive,
Mm-hmm.
and a 15-inch MacBook Pro i9, which is massive. And
Mm,
together, they're heavy. And I also bring the
yeah.
iPad Pro. And like the combination of these three
The
devices is
big version or the smaller
the smaller
iPad
version, but
Pro?
it's
Okay.
still pretty heavy. I think it's
Still an
10.5
iPad Pro.
inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, and I don't know. I feel like at least one of these have to go, if not two.
Yeah.
And just there's got to be, yeah. As a maximalist, there's got to be some sort of breaking point, and I
Yeah.
feel like my back will break at some
Yeah.
point. Are
I
like, do
mean
you also bring a
now
tablet or no?
so now I have I have the newer Mac, so I have a
Right.
M1 Max with 64 gigs and 4
Nice.
terabytes and
Ooh.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's
So I
great.
have that laptop that I carry with me. I also have my second gen iPad Pro when they first moved to the 10.5 inch
Yep.
rather than the smaller
I think
screen.
that's where I'm at as well. Yeah.
Okay. Which I keep meaning to upgrade
Same.
because I am definitely hitting the max of that.
Same.
Um, and then I have a Kindle,
Oh,
like a
okay.
real Kindle, not a
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Amazon Kindle Fire or whatever,
Yep.
but
Yep.
like a real e-reader. Because I do. I mean, I use that. I read on that every night.
So you prefer to
And
read on
that's
that than the iPad?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting to that point where maybe what I could do is downsize it for travel, downsize the
Right.
iPad to a Kindle. Because what I really
Mm.
want of the iPad when I travel is to read. Maybe to doodle a
Yeah.
little bit. I think that's
Yeah.
why I do bring it, but I doodle not as much as I think I will
Right.
want to.
Well, I'm using it, especially now. I mean, now creating videos for Infra, um, every video I've done is there's a lot of little animations in each video, and all
Nice.
those animations are 100% done on the iPad.
Okay.
Just
Are
because,
they like
I've got
Procreate or something?
yeah, it's basically doing a screen recording of me drawing on Procreate or
Nice.
concepts, or using Calipeg, which is an animation tool.
Oh. Another one for the
Awesome
listeners.
animation tool.
Calipeg, so it's Calipeg.
Something like that. There might be two L's.
We will find it here. You put in the show notes. I've not heard of that. I think the other
Yeah,
two are quite
I
common.
think it's French.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. 2D
Yeah,
hand-drawn
that's great.
animation application. I like this. Now, where do you stand on like would you bring so you're drawing? Would you bring like the Apple Pen or like I brought a full-size Wacom tablet, which I think
No, I've got.
I'm probably in the minority there.
Yeah. No, I mean I have one of those, but I haven't touched it in since getting the iPad Pro. I haven't really touched it.
Really? Okay.
So yeah, iPad Pro with a pencil. It's still the older version of the pencil. You have to take the cap off and stick it in the side of the or the bottom of the
Okay,
iPad.
maybe my iPad's just slightly newer than that then. Okay.
Yeah,
I've got the one that
yeah,
like magnets to it.
yeah. That much better design.
Yeah.
It's horrible sticking this thing out. And now you, of course, if you're wandering around, you're worried about bumping into something and snapping that end off.
It's sticky at the top, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is pretty silly. Okay, so you've got one laptop then,
yeah.
and two tablets is your
Yep.
mix of devices, and one phone.
Yep.
No audio devices other than the Zoom. Okay, because I used to
Right.
bring like an iPod, like classic basically, but I
Mm-hmm.
finally got rid of it. But this time, of course, I get to the hotel room and I realize I can't charge my phone and listen to music if I don't have a wireless headset, which broke. So I've got like one that I like to like nap with or
Right.
whatever, and of course it broke on the trip because that happened.
Yeah.
So I Amazon primed myself one next day, which of course then
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to the lobby and pick up, and I'm gonna have,
Right.
I'm gonna have like a missed phone
Yeah.
call on my phone when I get
Yeah.
back to the room. But
And you're
yeah,
gonna have
that's
a $30 charge from room service to deliver that package.
of course.
Yeah.
But I do bring a lot of headphones, and again, maybe this is like an
Yeah.
ADHD thing, but I need that noise cancellation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I need to be able to clear stuff out so I can one sleep. New York is really
Right.
loud, which is where I am this week.
Okay.
But also like if I need to concentrate at work, I
Yeah.
need to get rid of the noise to like get in the
Yeah.
zone and get stuff done because a lot of these offices are open plan now,
Yeah.
pretty loud, and our team is
Yeah.
also pretty loud. So when they're all around
Yeah.
you, if you're working
Yeah.
at the cafeteria or something, it's doubly
Right.
so. Yeah. Now, have you
Got all
messed
these
around with
French people
those?
around? No.
Well, yeah, I love French people. They like me. They talk with their hands. Are you like AirPods Max? Are you like no over ear? Is it
No,
all in
I
ear?
have. I mean, I had up until recently the iPads Pro that stick
Right.
in.
AirPods Pro. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And but at home, I mean, actually, I don't see them right here. I mean, normally I have a pair of Bear Dynamics 770s that are on over ear, and I much prefer that design for longer term.
Right. More
And
comfort.
so when I had the Bose, the last pair of Bose I had, which I was using up until very recently, was the QC5, which
Okay.
is very old. I mean, with foam
Yeah.
pads replaced 2 or 3 times so far.
Right.
Um,
Like the
and
original Quiet Comforts, I think. Right.
yeah,
Because
yeah, I think so. Um, and I think I actually bought them at an airport from one of the demo stands in the airport. Um, and yeah, so but they were over ear, not on ear,
right.
because there were some on ear ones, but these were
Yes.
kind of around ear.
Yes.
Um, and
Now, have you ever tried
because
the
they're super
in-ear
comfortable.
noise cancellation with the over-ear? That is maybe my tip of the day. It-
So
doubling it
one
up.
other thing that I've done is get a cheap pair of headphones and then
Yep.
get the there's a company that sells it on Amazon that's basically this goop that you it's two
Goop.
separate compounds.
Okay.
You mix it together,
Yeah.
knead it around, and
Yeah.
shove it in your ear. A little
Yeah.
scary. And then it kind of almost solidifies a little bit. But while it's solidifying, as it's getting there, you put your headphones in where they would normally take the cap off, or the thing that seals it in your ear. Take
Yeah.
that off and shove that in as well, so that they're in there. And then you wait 15 minutes, and then you pull the whole thing out, and then
That is
now
next level.
it's shaped to your ear, and they are, uh, I mean, it's like $20 in Amazon, and you buy some, $10 headphones. Now you've got these $30 headphones that are shaped to your ear, and so
Wow.
for at least the next 6 months, you have I mean, far better than any noise cancellation headphones possible,
Right.
and they are amazing, sound amazing, despite them being super cheap. Um, now you have to make sure that you pay attention to the expiration date on them,
Okay.
because
Makes sense. Yeah.
I did get some that were a packet that sat around for a while, because I bought it and I didn't actually use it, and
Right.
then sat around. I got it, and I put it in my ear, and it never really solidified, so it took a little bit of washing out to get it out. It was awful. Um,
That sounds like a
but
bad
other
time.
than that, it's great.
I haven't been getting the goop stuck in my ear.
Now,
It sounds like, is it?
also,
Go ahead.
I mean, on the other side, I mean, getting these, these little soft bits that go
Yeah.
on top of the AirPods Pro.
Right.
I had my AirPods on the last trip. I had the AirPods Pro in my ear. I pull them out to speak to somebody, and
Right.
this piece got left in my ear. And so now I'm picking at my ear for the next like 20 minutes trying to pull this thing out. So,
It's a nightmare scenarios. It
nightmares,
sounds to
yeah.
me like the ones that form are kind of. I think it's Etymotic will make ones where you can actually like
Mm-hmm.
go to someone in the measure of your ear and make them for you.
Yeah.
But it sounds like another way
I
to
have a pair
approach
of
this problem.
etymonics around here somewhere.
Yeah, apparently they're quite good, especially the ones that are like made for your ears.
Yeah, no. I have them from they must be 25 years old, because they had a special
Wow,
discount for Microsoft employees, and it was still when I was still at Microsoft
gotcha.
25 years ago.
Wow, what a long and storied career you've had. Now, on the plane, are you the like are you the person who takes the sleeping pill and just goes through the whole thing? Are you trying to be productive on the plane? Does it depend like on the length? Because like that's something I feel like I could use some coaching on because I try to be productive, but also some days I'm just like sleep through the whole thing and then I mess up the entire sleep cycle. So there's got
Yeah.
to be a better way,
It depends. If it's a short flight,
right?
and short, I mean anything domestic U.S. is going to be kind of short,
Right.
under 5-6 hours, mm, max,
Hmm.
roughly. Then I don't take anything. When I was based in Amsterdam, like almost every trip I took was longer. I mean, flying down to Dubai was
Right.
6-7 hours. Flying to
And
Singapore
that's
was
Schiphol, right? Yeah.
Schiphol Airport. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I would often I'd fly to LA, and that was a long flight. I'd fly to Singapore. That was a super long flight. All those flights. For a while, I was doing melatonin.
That's what I'm taking
And
now. Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's a good
yeah,
idea.
and also planning for a few days beforehand, like 2 or 3 days ahead of time. You're already getting onto that time zone slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm currently
Um,
trying.
yeah,
And what do you
and
think?
I mean
Yes?
it
No?
works. It kind of works a little bit, as long as you're relaxed. And I find
Right.
that, doing simple meditation just beforehand, where you're mostly just focusing on the breath, and
Right.
counting to, how many try to count to 10 without focusing on something else. And if you do focus on something else, restart to as one, and when you get to 10, restart at one, and keep doing that, and gradually calm down, and then doze off. And I think the melatonin adds a little bit of ease to that dozing off.
Right.
But nowadays, I can, if I'm tired and I want to, sleep on the plane, even a shorter flight, I do that breathing as soon as I sit down, and I'm out within 5-10 minutes, and I'm sometimes waking up as it lands.
That is amazing. I think it's amazing because like I have a very similar approach to it. But what I often do, because I like nerding out, a friend of mine did a podcast recently where they talked about your camera wanting to be its full self. And what they mean by that is like all of the accessories. You know the pamphlets that come with the camera, like you could get the
Hmm.
XLR adapter, you could get the battery pack, that kind of thing. So a lot of what I do when I think to meditate, for some reason, is just like the accessory goes here and you turn the screw like this and then you add the lens and the lens
Yeah,
cap and maybe a light
right.
and maybe there's like a harness
Yeah.
and I'm out. And before this it used to be like PCs, like imagine a full tower and
Mm,
like all the parts that go into it because it's just so many
right.
steps. Man, like it just immediately fall asleep.
Hmm.
Kind of like imagine thinking through the steps in the IKEA manual and like how to make something,
Right.
which is
Well,
just the silliest thing to explain to people.
similar to that, the other one technique that I've sometimes used is
Mhm.
imagining like a goopy liquid kind of covering you. Imagine first the
Oh,
toes and then over the feet, and imagine every body part all the way along, and like
right,
really imagining what it feels like as it goes all the way up
right.
and over your finger. I mean everything.
Yeah. As
Um,
the goop in your ear is solidifying.
Goop in the ears, yeah. And then no goop in the ears, and then that's also very relaxing, and I'm out.
Interesting. Yeah,
And
those like yeah.
I tend to either have there's a Brain FM, which has kind of a it's a online site, but you can also download the audio files, and I've subscribed that for a long, long time. Um, and so that will have kind of a noise slash drone slash music that is easy enough to fall asleep to. Or the other two types of things that I will listen to that I can fall asleep to is either uh, uh, a podcast above and beyond, which is kind of
Okay.
a dance, electronic, and I fall asleep to that, or kind of like corn.
Corn?
So
Corn the
corn,
band?
KORN, yeah, with the
Yeah.
backwards R, yeah, I can fall asleep to that. Other things I'm going to be paying attention to, and I can't listen to.
Oh, okay. So it's more about the familiarity.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I think listen, I think we covered travel. I think we could talk about travel for a long time. We should probably call it here. But just like last time, I was wondering if there's anything that you've like seen, watched, heard recently that you want to recommend to people who might catch this. Something that caught your eye that they might find interesting. Maybe not the what was it, the cockroach DB table of what runs faster on what instances and what cloud.
Well, so what was interesting about that? I mean, so it was a report looking at what was the report looking at? It was looking at like,
I think basically it's like compute, like which
yeah,
processors on which clouds provide the most value for the most part.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And
yeah,
that's
was there
an
any
interesting
media?
topic
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I thought I was buying a super fast machine, and then the budget warden
Yeah,
got in the way, and so I'm not buying that. But it's interesting, comparing. Well, what's the cost of buying this super expensive machine that I can have in my room and like ogling at versus buying compute off of DigitalOcean or AWS. It's an interesting, even for home lab stuff. It's interesting. But other I you do you have anything
I
you
do
think?
actually. So I've played a game called Game Dev Tycoon quite a bit, which is sort of silly. You imagine you come up with ideas for games, and you run your devs
Hmm.
through it. And your devs have like a maturity kind of thing. They go through and they become like staff engineers, and then like you can
Hmm.
move them over to directors or something like that. But there is a the original to this, which I didn't know about, is called Game Dev Story, which is Japanese, but was translated. I didn't realize a number of years ago. Now I thought I had the Japanese version on my phone, and I was like, ah, let's try this just before I leave to see if it's good. Turns out it was translated not great, but it was quite good. So I was able to go through the game dev story quite a bit and like really some hits and stuff like that. And I spent must have been 3 hours on the phone playing it. So when I
Yeah.
wasn't sleeping, I played it. So I'll put a link in the show notes. But game dev
Okay.
story as opposed to game dev tycoon, I think they're both good
Huh.
in different ways. Are fun little like like a game snack game where you don't feel like you're
Uh-huh.
invested in it. It's sort of repetitive, which is nice if you're trying to like settle your brain down, but also it's got that little like endorphin rush as you really say a hit or something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Huh. I was assuming you were going to go in a direction uh, like was that there was that like PC Builder game?
Oh, I've definitely played that. Yeah, PC Builder Simulator or whatever it's called.
Uh, I mean, I
Yes,
can't play it because I don't have a Windows machine. So, right? Is it Windows only?
I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
very relaxing though. It's almost therapeutic. I played that on Twitch before with people, and they're like, "What are
Yeah.
you playing? This is ridiculous." Like, yeah, yes, it is. But I used to run
Yeah.
like a shop where I built a lot of PCs, so for me, it's kind of like a thing.
Um, no, I'm trying to think of other thing to recommend. Well, uh, just last Tuesday. So Tuesdays, we usually have a babysitter come by, and
Okay.
so that means me and my wife can go out and
Yeah.
go do something. And it usually means going to one of the restaurants here on Bainbridge for dinner. When we finish dinner, I mean, being our age and having a child means
Right.
that going out starts at like 4:30,
Right.
uh, and because you want to be home before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
But Tony's mother is here with us, so we've got actually got a longer time that we can stay out now. Our curfew is a little later,
Hey, there you go. Just relax. Yeah.
and so we went to dinner, and then we thought, should we should we go see a movie?
Ooh.
And so we went and saw a movie. It was the first we figured it out. It was the first movie we'd seen since before Stella was born. And it'd been a while before that. So I think the last movie we saw in the theaters was Solo, the Star Wars,
Yep.
which for some reason other people didn't like, which
I
even though
liked it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
great. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. The one before that I hated. But
Yeah.
but
I
anyway,
think I'm of the same. Yeah, I'm of the same
yeah.
opinion.
Um, so we went and saw Top Gun.
Oh, Maverick or
It
whatever it's
was
called.
awesome.
That's great.
It was great.
Oh, I can't
I
wait
mean,
to see it.
there were
It's
some
cheesy.
cheesy parts of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it was great. It was
That
so
is
much
awesome.
fun. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. It was in a theater where you could tell they'd played something in the past on those speakers that kind of blew them out a bit, so they were a little bit staticky. It's not a big theater, and you could definitely hear the movie next to us as well a little
Right,
bit. So not the best circumstances, definitely not like the movies I'd see when I was living in New York City, and you go to any of
right.
the Lowe's or massive theaters. It's not like that, but it was still amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
definitely need to go see it.
yeah,
My significant other is a big fan of Tom Cruise and the Top
yeah,
Gun movie, so I have to see it.
yeah.
I'm also wondering, like, if is there anything you're doing recently, like where or coming up where people could maybe meet you in person? Do you have any conferences coming up that people should know
Well,
about?
before I before I say anything, just thinking of Tom Cruise,
Oh,
I Tom Cruise, yeah, he was in Risky Business, right?
yes,
I think that was so.
one of his breakout
I
roles. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Risky Business in the theater. Um, so I would have been, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years old. Uh, and uh, I went I went with my parents.
Okay, that's a
Risky
risky
Business is
movie.
a
Yeah.
it's a risky movie. I mean, as a 10-year or whatever year it was, 82, 83, so I'd have been 12 or 13 years old. And uh, uh, but not only them, but also my mother's grade school teacher was visiting us from England because I was born in England. So we moved over to the States. So this grade school teacher of hers that she'd become friends with had come and visit us in Miami, and so it felt I basically had my mother on one side and this grade school teacher on the other side, and I'm like seeing all sorts of funny
Oh,
business
yeah.
going
Well,
on.
you're discovering a
Yeah,
whole bunch of stuff.
like,
Yeah.
oh, they do that? What? Um, yeah. So that was my introduction to Tom Cruise.
That
Um,
is ridiculous.
Rebecca De Mornay was it? That was the anyway.
I
Um,
I can't remember.
so conferences? No, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have any. I mean, there's the YouTube channel that's infra. We still don't have a youtube.com/infra. It's still youtube.com/one
I'm thinking
two a
Devops Days
seats
Seattle. Are you helping
VD.
out with that?
Oh yeah.
Ah,
There you go. I do that. I mean, I submitted my on my talks to KubeCon
right.
Detroit, but who knows? Um, but coming up very soon, yeah. DevOps Days Seattle is coming up. I don't have a talk there, but I am the MC
That's what I
for the
thought.
event.
Yeah.
So I will be,
Yeah.
I'll have my couple of minutes before every single talk.
There you go.
Hopefully I'll have an infra t-shirt to advertise. But um, yeah, so that's coming up. Thanks for reminding. That's July 19th and 20th. Um, will you be there?
I will try to be there because it's
Oh
quite
yeah.
close to me. So yes,
Yeah.
I would like to attend. We'll
Does
see what happens.
does the is Datadog? I don't think Datadog's sponsoring.
I'm not sure. I
I
believe
don't
we
think
may have
so.
submitted a talk there, but we'll see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've also got
Oh
Monitorama
yeah.
coming up June 27th and
Oh yeah.
29th. I won't be speaking, but I'll be in
Yeah.
booth duty, that kind of thing. So if you
Yeah.
want to come ask me questions
That's
about
my that's the site
monitoring,
of
I'll be there.
my that's the site of one of my most embarrassing events ever.
Oh no. Let's save this story because I want to hear it, and I feel like it's perfect stream
And
material.
it's probably one of the site of one of Jason Yee's most embarrassing events too.
Excellent. This sounds like perfect stream material. We should get Jason on to help add some color to this. That's all I had. Thank you so much for talking
Yeah.
travel for me. Thanks for the
Hey, that was
advice.
fun.
I always like to get tips on how to do it better
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm still a rookie at this, and learning from
Yeah.
you is great. Thank you so much, Matt.
Oh, you make me sound like I'm an expert or something.
I mean, you've done it for a bit.
I've done it a little bit. Yeah.
All right, do we have a closer? Have we come up with some way to say goodbye and thanks for all the fish?
We had something funny last time, I thought.
We still have no closer. I stole that from a YouTube streamer.
Yeah. Well, thanks for all the fish. Isn't that from like
Hitchhiker's
Hitchhiker's
Guide,
Guide?
but yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
He
All
wasn't
right.
a
Well,
YouTuber.
well, you never know. He
Oh,
may have gone on
yeah.
there.
Okay.
So I don't have the end stream button, so that's all up to
So
me. But thank you.
are we going to meet up to like deal with our streaming setup this week?
I think so. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. All
And
right.
we're going to be 2 o'clock next Tuesday, right?
You got it.
Okay. Okay.
All right, folks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.